All right, so we see some questions here. And any hands raised?
I see a question from Kate Adahar.
Yes. So we have from Kate,
Shall I?
Random Republic. So her name, so her question for Jasmine is: aside from the BTS campaign, are you also supporting other WV or World Vision initiatives?
Yes, other than the BTS Back to School campaign, let's get that one straight, okay? Ha, back to school po yan ah. Other than the back to school campaign, I've also been supporting, of course, the Abutin Natin campaign, which has been running for 2 years now. And we briefly mentioned it. And I don't know kung napapansin niyo po kanina dun sa mga videos or AVP na pinapakita, meron din pong quick, I think, scan through the Abutin Natin video. But also, of course, continuously po palaging supporting in the child sponsorship kasi tuloy-tuloy po yan even without the back to school campaign that's ongoing. And then on top of that po, we had the drives last year or the campaigns last year to help out in these times, the pandemic necessities, the kits that we were providing. Sorry, I've forgotten what we referred to them in the campaign, but we did provide hygiene kits, and we also raised funds to be able to provide, I believe, like tents, certain parang hand washing structures, what do you call it? Basins, yung hugasan ng kamay. Basta, and anything that was needed in order to maintain a good hygiene during the pandemic. These were something that we were providing, World Vision was providing for their community. So, actually, lahat naman po ng campaign ng World Vision, as much as possible, kung kaya ko pong maging present and to be vocal about it, I do my best to be there and to support po.
Thank you very much, Jasmine. So we have other questions here also from Rocky Batara from runnerrocky.com. So, how important is education for children, especially in the time of pandemic when face-to-face classes are temporarily restricted? Okay, so any of you can answer this question from Rocky Batara.
Can I go first?
Yes, sure.
I'll go first because I think having not for anything no, but I'm 27 at this point, but I still do believe kailan lang naman ako natapos sa pag-aaral in terms of a formal school setting. So I think the wanting to be in a setting like that, yung ano ba, yung pagka-miss ng mga bata, no, na makipag-interact, makita yung mga kaklase nila, makahalubilo, to be physically present with each other is something na I know for sure nami-miss ng mga batang ito. Kung tayo nga, when we're in our work settings, nakakapag-reminisce tayo ng mga panahon natin sa high school, for some college, for some grade school. Imagine these kids na nagsisimula pa lang sila sa kanilang learning experience, wala pa silang halfway there, and then already they have to be restricted in terms of communication sa mga kaklase or interaction. There are skills kasi din na nabibuild natin as human beings, kapag na-expose tayo sa mga ganong environment. Iba din ang building blocks ng school environment in comparison to workplaces or everyday settings like a grocery store or sari-sari store or mall, etc. and so on. So, I think yun yung pinaka important factor ng mga face-to-face settings na sana ma-experience ulit ng mga bata kasi even without school, you can see that they miss going out, miss playing with their friends. So, yun yung mga bagay na napapansin ko na um, nakakalungkot, no? But it's something that we have to also keep in mind because of safety and health for kids, the families, and everyone else around us.
Yes, that's right. Kahit yung interpersonal communication, ibang-iba talaga siya kapag face-to-face ginagawa. So maybe from anybody else from World Vision would also want to answer that question, or if not, we will move forward. Wala na. I think Miss Jasmine,
The,
okay,
yeah,
Sir Jun.
Romel, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to add na ang education talaga ay equalizer, no? Greatest na equalizer sa atin. May pandemic man or wala. Tapos all the more nga, sabi nga ni Jazz na mas importante may sense of may kahit na nasa bahay lang yung mga bata, they would feel like there's still a sense of continuity to learn kahit na via technology or via other means, no? Para yung may sense of normalcy na kahit may sense of hope na kahit na nasa bahay they're not maybe facing each other in a real school, no, na on site na face to face, still they continue to have that sense of continuity. Yun talaga yung inaano ipanang what we're working closely with the Department of Education to ensure na may learning continuity kasi minsan kahit na may pandemic, mga bata talagang sobrang affected now, no, with the GCQ and heightened restrictions na naman tayo in NCR. Then kids can no longer go out and be with their friends and have that fellowship and learn from each other. Pero by providing them opportunity like this one, may learning continuity, whatever that means, sobrang blended. Sometimes they could go have face-to-face meetings in some areas, no, but mostly in their homes, they can continue learning. Yung sense of hope na maibigay lang natin, especially during this time, I think that's really really important, especially those na in vulnerable areas, like yung mga stories kanina sa video clips you've seen na sobrang limited yung kanilang access to even gadgets, na at least we can provide that at this time. They would have that sense na may hope pa. They can still continue pursue their dreams despite the challenges we're facing. Jun, maybe you want to add more.
Thanks, Mel. Thanks, Jazz. No, yung yung school kits that we're providing, bukod dun sa need that you know they really need those materials para makapag-aral, symbolic din siya. Remember, if whenever babalik ka sa school, you're so excited na pumunta sa kung anong bookstore, bumili ng ganito, no? Bumili ng Crayola, whatever. So yun yung tinatry din nating kumbaga ibalik sa kanila. They cannot go to the malls or to the stores, no, pero it's something that would create semblance, no. I remember nung nagkaroon ng Yolanda before, no, it was so difficult for children to go back to school kasi nga parang they were traumatized, and the teachers were very creative, no, in trying to create that sense of normalcy. So sa ngayon hindi pa talaga normal, no, we're trying to bounce forward to a new normal. We're trying to navigate through it. Pero at least, no, pabalik na ng school, no? So we're trying to send a message to the children na there is hope, no? Matatapos din ito. But at the same time, we want them to continue the path that they started.
Thank you very much for answering the question. Yes, that is what we want to give, yung sense of hope, and that we give these children, that they can continue, they can move forward despite the challenges. So next is from Ed Uy of Where is Ed Uy? So the question for World Vision, could you share with us the target areas for World Vision's Back to School campaign? How did you choose these areas and how many students? So a question for World Vision.
Okay, so
Precious,
siguro
ikaw na?
for the target number of students, we have about we were able to help about 64,000 last year. For this year, we would like to help the same number and even more kung kakayanin. So that's why we would like to rally everyone's support talaga. However amount po, however any amount po talaga will be able to help reach out to our vulnerable children, especially during this time. We have about 24,000 children all over the Philippines na supported by World Vision Philippines. And aside from that, we also have about 40,000 plus children na we aim to help with in relation dun sa partner schools natin with Department of Education. So the target areas would be also all around the country. So kung saan malapit yung mga area program that we assist, example with that will be mga Batangas areas in Luzon, in Visayas, Cebu, Bohol areas, in Mindanao, Misamis areas, and North Cotabato, Zamboanga area. So those are some of the places that we have targeted.
Thank you, Miss Precious. And then we have another question from Janelle Estilior of Cinema Bravo. So for Jasmine, any recent personal encounter with kids that has been motivating you to keep on going for these drives with World Vision?
Unfortunately, I haven't been able to visit any communities lately in terms of World Vision children or kids. But that doesn't naman mean there are no personal relationships that and do inspire me. So recently my sisters come home with her daughter. I also have a niece who's given birth. Being exposed to these super duper duper young lives, wala pang 1 year of age or kaka 1 year old pa lang, it makes me think how these kids in my life, in my family, they have access to education. Ngayon pa lang, I know when they grow up, I know my niece will have an education that will be secured, will be something I don't have to worry about. My sister won't have to worry about. Same goes for my niece. Whatever happens, nandito ako for my niece and her daughter or her son. And, that gives me a sense of security. But then I look around me where I live, the country that I've chosen to be, a citizen of, and I see so many kids on the streets, and I see so many families that struggle to make ends meet, not just for the education of their kids, but for their daily necessities. So that in itself makes me think, sure, thank you, Lord, for what I have, but Lord, I'm sure there's something we can do more to be able to reach out to these other families and to these other children who, for sure will need our help too, because they can't do it alone. No man can do it alone. We must help each other and we must be there for each other. So family on its own really makes me feel very inspired, and just my experience on my own, having the access to the education that I received and to be able to share what knowledge I got from that, the skills I built or garnered from my education. I want the same for everyone. I want the same for all the children that I get to encounter or may not even encounter in my lifetime. Pero 'di ba, sana we were able to raise it to that same standard for everyone one day, and that everyone will have that chance or that opportunity that I had, that you guys had, so that walang magsustruggle or that our country has a fair chance to in our future. So that in itself inspires me and makes me reflect every day talaga.
Thank you again, Miss Jasmine. And then we have another question from Edgar Allen Yu of Gang's Mega World. What is the difference of back to school campaign to other educational campaigns by World Vision? So if anyone would like to answer, yes. From World Vision, the question is, what is the difference of back to school campaign to other educational campaigns by World Vision?
Siguro I'd like to answer that, no. Back to school is just really a kickoff of all the other educational programs that we are doing. So just to give you an example, if back to school is some sort of parang opening siya, and then after the back to school comes the other educational programs na nakapila na. So part of that is really reinforcing DepEd's yung learning continuity plan, training teachers, digital education, all the other programs that we have. We also have yung mga Brigada Pagbasa, yung these efforts, these are all helping the educational system natin, educational programs for the children. And kahit kagaya na sinabi ni Sir June kanina, no, na yung pagka meron kang something na school kit sa pag-start ng opening ng klase, ng pasukan, parang motivated yung mga bata to really study, ganon. And then right comes after yung mga programs some of the programs that I have mentioned earlier. So really, it's just a kick-off. But the other programs, yung talaga yung sustainable that will really be able to help out everyone, especially the children that we serve.
Thanks, Precious. Siguro idagdag ko lang din na for most years, yung focus ng back to school campaign natin were on the children from the assisted communities ng World Vision. This time around, since we have this partnership with the Department of Education, so we're going beyond. No, for example, Romel and I were in Batangas ba yun, Romel, or Laguna? No, we helped in distributing na sa Laguna, no, na we don't really have programs in Laguna, but we that was included, no, yung area na yun. So it's going beyond the World Vision areas and partnering talaga with the Department of Education in determining saang areas merong need. So we're going to we're sticking with the original, no, yung World Vision assisted programs, but at the same time going beyond, no? Even last year or I think earlier this year, no, we provided gadgets sa Region 1, no, sa pamamagitan ng ng partnership din natin with another donor, no. So wala rin tayong necessarily assisted children in that area, pero nandun yung need, no. And so we go to wherever there are higher vulnerabilities sa education, and I think that's one of the distinct, no, na the trait nitong campaign na to, which we're really glad, no, kasi nga we're able to reach more children.
Thank you, Sir June and Miss Precious. Just to reiterate, a question from Edsel Lorete of Big Tito. How many children are you targeting to help with this Back to School 2021 project? So as mentioned by Miss Precious, we're reaching 64,000 plus children with the 24 from last year. So that is our goal for this year. So we hope that you would support that. The next question is for World Vision from Rain De Ocampo of Rain Check. With restrictions still being enforced, what were some of the major roadblocks you have realized with regards to providing help to children, especially the students? So with the restrictions still being enforced, what are some of the major roadblocks?
So yeah, with the restrictions now, the good thing about World Vision is that we have presence kasi on the ground, meaning in all our area programs across the Philippines, we have staff in charge in those areas. Very limited though, where we don't have like number of staff running our program, but we strongly partner with the local government and local schools. And so by doing that, we're able to roadblock restrictions, walang face-to-face, walang naka-online lahat, may mga physical distancing. And so we took advantage of that, the way World Vision approach our programming. We have our staff presence, we have our partners on the ground, and we through them, we're able to continue our work. Kasi the biggest na roadblock talaga is how you're able to monitor, diba, your program implementation, even in the midst of the pandemic. So that's what we did. We make sure that all support that we have promised our sponsors that we're providing to children will be delivered on time and quality, at saka may accountability there. So by working alongside our partners on the ground. So that's one. Second is, as already mentioned, we partner with the Department of Education. So we support yung learning continuity plan. So it's a blended of merong printed na mga materials, my use of gadgets. And so we work alongside, partnering with the Department of Education, and we supported those initiatives. So we've, as mentioned by June, we provided even beyond dun sa World Vision area program, mga sites where we are present beyond because of that initiative and partnership with the Department of Education. Of course, we keep our staff healthy and safe, because we can't do our part if we're not safe and healthy as well. So we maximize technology, we as internet, etc. So by all means, we make sure that we reach to children. We even have radios provided in some areas for children to listen to the ongoing na mga education program provided by DepEd. So So those are some of major roadblock with the pandemic, but we make sure that we continue our work and we continue to be accountable to the sponsors and donors like you. That the every peso you've provided for children's education go along that way. Now that we provide to them despite the limitations and the challenges.
Thank you very much, Mr. Romel. We have last two questions, okay? So the second to the last question is for Jasmine. So you have been an ambassador for World Vision even before the pandemic. Can you share to us your most memorable experience with the group that inspires you to continue to be part of their campaigns? This is from Rain Del Campo of Rain Check.
Hi, Rainier. Thanks for that. I always enjoy answering this question because there have been several memorable moments, but the one that will always stick with me was when I went to Bulacan for the very first site visit that I did for World Vision. And it brought me to tears. It really did. It moved me so much kasi kakatapos lang ng bagyo nun. Which one was the Typhoon Haiyan, I believe? Tama ba, Sir June?
Actually, it was habagat. Habagat siya.
Habagat. Yon. But it was grabe yung effect in the community that we visited, and habang nag-video coverage kami noon, naiyak ako kasi may nadaanan kaming bahay na nabutas na yung bubong niya. From the second floor, butas na. Yung first floor, butas na rin. And the family had to stay and live in a jeepney in someone else's garahe. And that just really broke my heart. I couldn't bring myself to imagine paano kung kami ng mama ko yun. You know, how would I feel? How would I feel for my mom as her daughter? Paano ko siya maitataguyod, you know? Paano ko siya ma-make sure na safe siya with all her conditions, her medical conditions. Paano kung yung mga nakatira dun sa bahay na nasiraan, paano kung sila din may pre-existing medical conditions, yung mga matatandang nakatira doon, yung mga magulang, or what if yung mga bata then, you know what I mean? All these things ran through my head, and I was only 17, I think. That was a decade ago, 17 or 18 years old, and yun na yung pinaka-memorable sa akin because it showed me the harsh reality that some of the communities here in the Philippines have to face. And sa lagay na yun, hindi naman, you know, they're not the poorest of the poor families or communities, but yet, you know, they face something as quick as a 2-day typhoon, and ito na yung kailangan nilang bumangon from this. Mas mahirap pa yung pagbangon nila. So, that in itself just made me feel like I had to do something more. I have to be more active when I can, you know, given the opportunity to speak, given the platform that I get to work in, and the industry that I get to be a part of. There's so much more that I can do if it's just speaking. Kung hindi ako makapag-donate ng sarili kong pera, 'di ba? Then at least ma-offer ko man lang yung laway ko, yung lip service of talking to people and telling people about these avenues to help. So ever since then, I've always been so passionate about any opportunity na pwedeng makatulong or maging parte ng pagtulong, kasi aminin natin, hindi naman sa lahat, sa araw-araw nating pamumuhay, hindi naman natin unang may isip lagi ang mga ganitong bagay. 'Di ba? Meron tayong sariling inaatupag sa buhay natin. Pero kapag magkaroon tayo ng chance, meron tayong weekend, 1 weekend off, 2 hours off, 1 hour off, 30 minutes off, na bisitahin yung website, you know, mag-donate what we can, what we have, or gather our fellow, if you're a young person, you know, gather your friends, make this a group activity that you guys do maybe once a year kung hindi nyo pa afford. Ang daming ways around it na pwedeng magkaroon ng drive for it. And I've always been one to share it with my family and my friends, and I've even made Jeff sponsor ilang kids na in the past, and sometimes he's human, he forgets to pay the sponsorship, but I remind him. Sometimes I'm human and I get an email from World Vision reminding me, hello, may 1 year na po. So there are so many things here that can remind you. Just need to sign up to it so that you get the reminder as well, because we're only human, but let's not forget the humanity around us as well.
Thank you very much, Jasmine, for sharing your experience and for reminding us that there are so many ways that we can help. So thank you again for your support. So last but not least, our question is, what's inside the school kit? So what is inside the school kit by Alwin Aguirre of City Roamer? So for World Vision, what is our back to school kit?
Okay, siguro I'll just answer this last question. The school kit contains mga pencils, just the common laman ng school kit natin. So pencils, notebooks, crayons, and other tools that we need for learning. However, what's special about this is that it's grade level dependent or customized, kumbaga. 'Di ba? Iba-iba po minsan yung grade level requirements natin. So we base the content doon sa grade level ng bata. So yun po yung usual content.
Thank you very much, Miss Precious. And so that concludes our Q&A portion. And so together, let us help these 64,000 or more children to have access to these school kits so that they can have the hope to continue their education. So thank you again to our friends from our media for those insightful questions. And to formally close the event, may we call on Mr. June Godornis, World Vision's Resource Development Director.
Yep. Thank you so much. Thank you, Laika, and for Jasmine, Romel, Precious, and for everyone who are part of our press launch for the Back to School campaign. This is the second year na online or if may work from home, merong study from home, no, or remote learning, yung pag-aaral ng mga bata ngayon. And I think even on social media, we've been seeing people struggling, no, paano pumapasok yung mga anak nila day one, no, or week one, no, and it's something cute, no, but sa totoo lang, it's really challenging for a lot of Filipino families, especially those from vulnerable communities, no, and just like to highlight besides the school kits, we're providing the printed modules, the gadgets, no, as needed. And we're grateful that we have this partnership with the Department of Education so that we can reach out to more families, reach out to more children. No? And as you probably know, no, I was looking through the list kung sino yung kasama natin ngayon, and a lot of you nakakasama rin natin in other press launch, no, and you're probably familiar na rin about World Vision's work. And as you know, World Vision goes beyond education, and we continue to support children and families to get out of poverty. No? That's the end goal. No? So that children can become better version of themselves and reach their full potential. No? Pag may nagtatanong sa akin, in a nutshell, what is World Vision doing? Sinasabi ko, we're in the business of helping children fulfill their dreams. No? It's very aspirational, pero it's really not an overnight solution. No? And it's more challenging now because of the pandemic. And I'd like to take this opportunity to shout out sa mga field staff and community volunteers din ng World Vision, no, who help in doing the house to house, no, kumakatok sa mga bahay, chine-check, monitor yung mga bata, how they are doing, so that we can ensure na maayos yung mga bata, they can continue going to school, no, at walang batang naaabuso and wala ring mga batang as mentioned kanina sa mga statistics, no, na children are more prone to be involved in child labor right now. Last Saturday, I had this great opportunity of spending time with former sponsored children. No, bumabagyo, umuulan last weekend, but they uh, made time for it, and I met Arnel, no, from Surigao. He's now he's an electrical engineer. No, si JR naman is now working in a company based in Qatar. Adora is an IT professional in Cavite. Lizelle from Quezon is a store manager of Max's restaurant. And si Jan V, a member of the World Economic Forum, no, and is a consultant. Ang common denominator nila, once upon a time in their life, they were sponsored children of World Vision. They received support, well, from both their loved ones, no, but from even from other people na hindi nila kakilala, hindi nila kamag-anak, but people who decided to pitch in and support for their education. And earlier on, no, when we started this press launch, meron tayong video na nakikita si Jasmine, no, ang pangalan pa ni Jas, no, who wants to be a teacher when she grows up, and si Shasha, who wants to be a future flight attendant. And remembering yung stories ng mga former sponsored children whom I met last Saturday, it is my prayer na si Jasmine and si Sasha would strive to reach their dreams, and I'm really hoping that more people would be supporting them to do that. And as mentioned, yung development ng ating bayan, no, just like education, it takes years. No, mahabang panahon yung ginugugol. It's not an overnight solution. And our children need all the hope, no, and all the support that they can get. Kaya yung World Vision slogan, our vision for every child, life in all its fullness, and our prayer for every heart, the will to make it so. So by being here and by supporting this campaign, I think we have a better shot at this. No, thank you sa mga kasama natin from media and blogosphere. You know, thank you for amplifying the voices of the children, and thank you for your support to our back to school campaign. So maraming salamat po, and God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Mr. June. And we have come to an end of our program. And once again, we want to thank everyone, especially our partners and friends from the media, for gracing us on this wonderful occasion to learn more about World Vision's Back to School campaign. And we do hope that you can join us in this worthy endeavor and encourage your loved ones to participate in this meaningful cause with World Vision. And as we were saying a while ago, there's nothing too little that you can give. So by spreading the word about World Vision's Back to School campaign on social media, by using our official hashtags WV Back to School 2021 and hashtag World Vision PH, you are already doing so much, and you're already making waves for this to reach more people. And so you can learn more about the Back to School campaign